What an amazing day. We've got Christine Beckwith from 2020 Vision for Success Coaching here with us. She's been with the team all day. We had a little bit of a live video this morning when she was meeting with the sales team, the ops team, kind of going over. When you have the master in the house, we want to take full advantage of it. So we've got Christine now. I have her one-on-one. We're going to talk about a little bit about you, Christine, a little bit about your history. You know, you've got 3 amazing books out there. You've got a 4th one you're writing now. And the more I read about you, the more I follow you on Facebook, LinkedIn, all your social media, and see the circles that you're involved in. It's amazing. So for someone who's been in the business for 27 years, I look back and thought, oh my gosh, I could have been in your shoes. I could have done all the accolades that you've done. I didn't, and now I've got some catching up to do. So now I'm going to bring you into my world, into my home, and we're going to take full advantage of your history, of your growth, of your leadership, and really, I think the thing that aligns us with you so much, Christine, is Global Integrity Finance is all about the relationship.
Right.
We're not about lending money. We're not about making money. We're about changing people's lives. And when I read your stories, I read your books, I hear your bio, I see that that's all you've ever been about. From day one, somebody made a difference in your life. And you've taken it, you've run with it, and now you're making a difference in thousands of people's lives. It's amazing. It's amazing. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm here in Dallas this week, and I'm really fortunate because I have a lot going on here, and I'm doing the emceeing of the Housing Wire conference tomorrow called Engage Talent, and of course, here visiting Global Integrity. Thank you for investing in me. You know, what I always say to people that hire coaching is, first of all, you're a step ahead of everybody else if you believe in that philosophy. I have a coach. I hired coaches along the path of my professional life, both for myself and for the teams that I managed. And it is a philosophy. And you're right, you know, I was really lucky to have people tell me early on. My dad really did a great job of saying, if you come from a place where you serve the people, that everything else would come, you know, that money would come and prestige or whatever you wanted to accomplish in life would come. And so I've always tried to remember that. There's times in my life I think I got off track with that too. I don't mind admitting. Everybody knows that I'm super straight up authentic. And I would tell you, we all get caught up in the chasing the trophy or chasing the money or whatever. And ultimately, as business owners, we're trying to move the needle, you know, in the right direction, profitably speaking. But I'll tell you, I have discovered, and now I think mastered and put together in the curriculum and the coaching that I do, the techniques are really born out of passion, authenticity, a believability that salespeople have. I found that getting salespeople to do their very best came from really helping them find the right way for them to feel like they're helping other people. Instead of thinking like, I have a product, I'm gonna sell it, here's my consumer. It is more about them understanding you're here to help people, and you're gonna connect the dots between the consumer, other businesses in your instance with Global Integrity, and you're going to bring the power of what you guys do, which is change lives. And when people get centered on that, when they get there, it's more comfortable. I think selling stops being selling and it becomes more of a natural conversation.
Or a relationship.
It becomes a relationship. But make no mistake, you know, Toby's guys right now, and this is for all the competition out there, are sharpening their toolboxes. What you don't know is they're actually taking 24 courses right now behind the scenes, and they are learning tactical matter to compete. And so while we are igniting the passion in them in what we do, we are teaching them skills to compete with, to maximize their sales, and foundationally support the businesses that they're growing.
And you said it politely, igniting the passion. I say lighting the fire.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a fire that has to burn from within.
That's right.
It has to burn from within. And you talk about that in every segment of your life. It always was a burning fire within you, not only to be great, but then to make others great.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think that it's funny that you say that, because I admitted this morning telling some stories that I fell upon the idea that I was competitive and discovered almost accidentally that I was fiercely competitive, and still am today. But that internal passion is there for me, and I love seeing other people. I love igniting that as a coach. I love watching people run onto the field, metaphorically, in sales and just doing amazing things. I just don't think there's enough of that done. Here's where we get in the weeds of this job. Is mortgage finance is a tough gig. It's tough, right? There's a lot of pieces, there's a lot of moving parts, realtors and real estate as well. You're in a baton passing transaction that touches 20 some odd people.
Right.
Anything can go wrong, and everything does go wrong. So how do you keep people, in the pocket and able to focus and do all those things? I think it's the same reason that top salespeople innately do well, and that is by uncovering your purpose, your why, your desire to help people, and then kind of centering on that. And so a lot of what we do is EQ, emotional intelligence. A lot of what we do is making people understand that no matter where we go, what we do during the day for a job, we at the center of who we are as human beings pray to the human spirit. That's an internal thing. That's our wiring. And so good sales companies, good companies will help people better themselves. They'll ignite that emotional, educational, within fire that people have. They'll celebrate progress. That is the human story. If we're progressing, if we're celebrating milestones, if we're moving ahead, mastering difficult techniques and things like that, I think it catches fire in teams.
It's a virus.
It's a virus. It's a positive virus.
It's a positive virus
and
that
it
spreads fast.
Yeah. You've been obviously on the system now for a little while. You're watching your guys do the curriculum.
Yes.
What are you seeing? I'll turn it back around to you.
The thing, Christine, that I like the most is the consistency of the way I grew up. I grew up very competitive. I grew up in sales. I've always believed that no matter what, that if I believed in a product or a service, I could outsell anybody because of that belief. But that was something that was built internally in me. And then when I hire sales guys and I don't see that from them, I get discouraged. But now I've launched your program, and I see that you're selling that same message, and they're now getting it. And it's like, I kind of use the analogy that my wife grew up on horses. She was a 5-time world champion in show horsing. She knows horses front to back, top to bottom better than I could, and can outride anybody I've ever known. And when we got into horsing together, whether it was team roping, she would tell me, this is what you need, and I just leave me alone.
You don't want to hear it.
I don't want to hear it. But I could go somewhere else and get the same message and receive it. And I think that's the same way here as the owner of a company, and as their day in, day out, whether you want to call it mentor, coach, whip cracker, whatever it is, driver, they get to where they're tired of hearing it from me. But what I loved about your program was it was the same exact message that I grew up with, that I'm teaching, and now you're saying it, and that's resonating with them. And they can hear it, and they can feel it, and they can believe it. Not that he could do it for him, but now somebody else. And then when you do your podcast and all that, and we hear from the other gurus who have went from nowhere, started a shop, a one-man shop, and now they're these, huge organizations, and they're like, wow, it is real.
I think at the center of everything is that belief system.
It is.
I think when we begin to believe in ourselves and we hear from other people that climbed a mountain and you know how they got there. I've climbed mountains in my career, and so by becoming a teacher and a coach, I've been able to have the pleasure of sharing those journeys. while those journeys were happening, they were hard.
They're always hard. I tell them,
yeah.
it was easy, everybody would do it.
That's right.
The difference is the guy that wants it more than the next
Yeah,
guy.
and I admitted today, you know, there's been failures along the way, more consistent wins just by applying certain things for myself. But sharing my story has enabled me to come from a really believable place where I share the same thing that we all share, and that is a desire for us to push ourselves beyond our limits.
Mm-hmm.
And you're making a really valid point right now. There's something that happens, it's our kids. You know, we can tell our kids whatever when we're at home. We send them to school, right? We hope they behave well, or we send them to other kids' houses for sleepovers, and then the parent returns them and says, "Your kid is so sweet.
Was amazing.
He did the dishes." And you're like, "My kid did the dishes?"
Right. You swapped my kid with somebody
Yes.
else.
Or they
Look
tell you
alike.
something and you're like, "That's a miracle." Well,
Yes.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
A third voice. You as a leader probably said all the right things and did all the right things. I think foundationally that's important. When you are willing, as an owner of a sports team, let's call it in this metaphor, to bring in a special teams coach, let's say, and apply that, you're investing now in the betterment of them. That's going to be carried beyond global integrity.
Correct.
You're giving them something. I have said this repeatedly throughout my career and in my books. There are special leaders, you know who you are if you're listening right now, that said the difficult things to me, brought in the people that pushed me out of my comfort zone, brought in the teachers that gave me the greatest lessons. Lessons, by the way, there are a couple of years where it's significant leadership that changed the next 20 years of my career.
Right.
So my goal is, and my passion is today that I live in, is that when people leave coaching with 2020 vision, whenever that is, that they're changed forever for the rest of their lives. Our goal is not to just change them while they're with us.
During that short period
That's
of time.
right, but to forever change the trajectory.
Create a legacy.
That's right.
Yep, right. And this is something that I hope resonates with my team and every person you work with. But one of the things that I don't think people recognize and appreciate the most is the journey.
Yeah.
If you hadn't had pitfalls, if you hadn't had setbacks, if I hadn't had pitfalls, setbacks, then there would be no story to tell.
Right.
There would be no life-altering, life-changing event that we persevered through, overcame, and conquered. That now, if people can understand that,
Yeah.
that's where they are at, and that's where they can become a better person down the road to say, you know what, I was once there,
Yep.
but today I'm now here. If every success story was, well, I started a business, and in the first year I made $10 million, and it's only quadrupled every year, there'd be no story to tell.
Absolutely. I think also people fail to get started. And I think that there's so many cliches of that first step being the biggest step and all those things, and it's so true. And I think that the reason they fail to get started is they get comfortable, they have to get outside their comfort zone to start anything new and to commit to something. And listen, improving your business, improving yourself as a professional is a commitment, and it's not something you can do one day a week. It's something that has to be done long term. I've been really successful at helping professionals recognize the beauty of taking blind steps, which is really what you're doing in the beginning of anything, is you're taking forward motion into something that is unknown. You can draw the picture of what it looks like, create the vision, which is really important in leadership,
Right.
But you're taking some blind steps. Soon enough, there's momentum there, and then it begins to carry, and you know, the success is contagious. I find that once that ball is rolling in a company or on a team or with a professional, it just keeps going. It'll snowball. It'll carry companies for years sometimes when that foundation is laid and that momentum is received. And you know, I just love watching those stories unfold. I've had the biggest breakthroughs with people that had adversity and came to me with no belief.
Right.
And
beat down,
that's
discarded,
right. Yep.
rock bottom.
Yeah, and you know, in this industry, I think everybody in the last decade has had to reinvent themselves a little
Correct.
bit. Everybody has come from some place in our market in the last year where or last decade rather,
yeah.
where they've either changed roles, changed companies, or just plain old had to tell themselves a story about it being better in the future. Well, the future's here.
Right.
It is better.
Tomorrow's always tomorrow.
That's right. And there's always a new opportunity every day to kind of start fresh. And, you know, I hear myself sometimes, I feel like I sound so cliche. There's so many cliches in coaching, but I believe everything I'm saying.
But it's so real to life. And this is where a cliche came through real life experiences, exposures, and repeatedness. Crap, I had a thought, now it went
right out the window.
Right out the window. And it was going to be a good one. It was going to be a mastermind.
Oh my God, it'll come back to you. Let's do a word game. This is perfect, like Facebook Live stuff right now. It sounds like.
That's right, that's right. Crap, Christina, I went blank.
We were talking about momentum.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, I'll fill in the blank while he's thinking about that and just tell you.
It's what happens when you get old.
That's right. No, I'm there with you.
Yeah.
You know, we won't give away everything we did here today because a lot of the exercises are part.
And our competition's watching.
It's our secret of what we did. But to say that we rolled our sleeves up, and got inside these teams today and talked about the core of what they do, where they're going this year, how they're going to go the long distance, the daily stuff, all that stuff, without giving any of those secrets away. The magic is in the execution, and you got a great team here, great attitudes. You're building on something huge. I love what you're doing. And Toby's also leading by example with social media. Social media is an aspect of our company education that comes in the second quarter, and then we expand upon it in the third. They're just getting started. He's leading by example exactly here today. And that is one of the greatest things that you can do for your business, is attract and influence people towards your business.
Well, and you know, to lead on that, one of the, and I don't know if that thought will ever come back, but we're going to go down a different road. You know, one of the things that I lead by, I instill in the team, and then I preach daily, is that we have to make a difference. We have to be that company that's not only a subject matter expert. Every one of our competitors is a subject matter expert.
Yeah.
Wonderful, great. But we're taking it, and we do these Tuesdays at 2. Last year was an expert series. This year we're talking about the 3 things you must have to be a successful investor, and what those things are, and how that has to be acquired and obtained. But the goal and the value behind it is that we're trying to make the investors a better investor.
Yeah.
Because every person that is in real estate investing didn't wake up one day at the age of 18 and say, I want to be a real estate investor.
Right.
The way transitions is, I'm sick of my job. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at my 401k, I'm looking at my Roth IRA, I'm looking at my retirement plan, and it ain't enough.
Yeah.
And if I work another 25 years, it might be enough. Mm-hmm. And so they hear about real estate investing. They hear about, they've watched HGTV with Fix and Flip, Flipping Vegas, Fix and Flop, and all these shows that have made us very successful because of that reality TV. But they've seen that, and they said, you know what? I want to get into it.
Yeah.
The problem is they don't know what they're getting into. So we try to educate. We try to build a network of experts, whether it be a wholesaler, whether it be a realtor, whether it be a contractor, whether it be another coach that's in, you know, doing one-on-one coaching for newbies. This is what Global Integrity Finance is about.
Yep.
And bringing you in is only a tip of the iceberg of the coaching that we can gather up and pass along.
Yeah.
And taking, you know, what you've talked about the passion that's burning. When we see a individual who's been in a job for 25, 30 years, and they say, I want to be a real estate investor, we know what their why is.
Yeah.
Whether they want to admit to it or not, we know the why is because I can't stand what tomorrow looks like. I can't stand what my future looks like, and I need a better opportunity. And so, but in order for them to be successful, they have to slow down. They need to align themselves with a network of coaching, of mentoring and advisories that guarantees and ensures success and profitability. Yeah. And that's our tagline. Global Integrity Finance guarantees success and profitability on any project we finance. Yep. And we do that religiously. And as we help our loan officers understand that why and put that burning passion within themselves, then it's not about just doing a loan. Right. It's about educating. It's about coaching. It's about saying we can't do this deal. Not that we don't want the commission on it,
Right.
but we don't want you losing your shirt on the deal.
Yeah.
Because it is going to be a huge loss.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, there's a lot there, and I think the thing that we really get into that's the right path in coaching is, first of all, there's a foundation.
Right.
Any entrepreneur at every seat, every originator at every seat is really running their own business.
Correct.
So when you're an owner, like Toby here, you want every person that's in that seat running their business from that foundational standpoint. So we start from the very foundational basics, and it's amazing. We work a lot with veterans, even that want that coaching accountability. It's kind of like this. Sometimes people that don't believe in coaching, if we go in the other direction, are people that think, I go to the gym already and I look decent and I work out. But then there's those people that want to push to those limits they haven't been to yet, or go to those new limits, and they understand a physical trainer,
Right.
per se, is going to take them there. So where we really get beyond with 2020 is that it's a very modern coaching philosophy, and that is this. Not only are we creating the foundation for your guys, but we're going to teach them the modern techniques
right.
for solving to the client's problem, getting their voices out there, getting influence, getting media. There's 1,000 ways to skin the cat.
Yep.
But
Agreed.
our industry is going in a certain direction, and we are going to teach your guys this year. They're already starting to use some of the tactics that are going to help them have a media influence, image, prestige, eliteness.
Right.
And that has a big part in selling in today's environment. We are competing now for market share on visibility.
Correct.
And if you don't think you're doing that, then you're not up to date with the times,
You're only
I would
kidding
say.
yourself.
That's correct.
You're only kidding yourself.
So he's doing them a huge favor, being able to bring these tactics in, because I know they're all gonna, get more business from it, more visibility. They're gonna learn life-changing tactics that they'll carry with them.
You made a statement that there's those out there that don't either accept the fact of coaching or adhere to it or recognize it, and I agree. They're only kidding themselves. But then I use this analogy in our training. Here you have NFL players, NBA players, Major League Baseball players. These guys are making millions of dollars and doing a sport that they've done since they could walk. They're been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years or longer.
Yep.
They still have a coach. They still have a special teams coach or a
Yep.
personal trainer. They
Yep.
still have to, and if these guys who are at that level of their game are still being coached day in, day out, still going to the gym day in, day out, then why aren't we?
Yeah, well, it's the guys that are really gifted that often gets coaches, by the way.
Yeah.
They don't want to lose their gift.
Right.
They
don't want
want
to be
someone to put
outplayed
them
from a
through-
younger
that's
guy.
right.
Yeah.
All of that is true. Like, I have a coach, and people
Right.
say, why do you have a coach? Because I believe in coaching and
Yeah.
what it does. I believe in that accountability factor and so on and so forth. So, anyways, thank you,
You bet.
so much for having me
What
here.
a pleasure. What an
Yeah.
honor. And I look forward to having you back. Thanks so much, Christine.
Thank you so much. Thank
Hey
you.
everybody, talk to you soon. This is Toby with Global Integrity Finance. You can call us at 214-548-5190 or go to our website, globalintegrityfinance.com. You'll see this. We'll share it all over the place. If you have any questions, give us a holler. Talk to you soon.